Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to solve equations with fractions and decimals in them. So first, let me show you an example that I want to show you. Example 1. What if we have 9 over 10x minus 11 over 15 equals to negative 12 over 25. Now if you have an equation like this, it looks very hard in the beginning because you got a whole bunch of fractions, but there's an easy way to fix that. The key thing to do is you have to find LCD, least common denominator. Remember, those are the denominator. When we're dealing with denominators, you want to make least common denominator. You want to find the least common denominator. So how do we do that? Well, to find the least common denominator, the easiest thing is look at the biggest denominator, which is 25, and you multiply that by 1, which is 25, and you can see if, because the least common denominator is the denominator that all three numbers has to go into. So does 10 go into 25? No. Does 15? No. So it's not going to be the least common denominator. So next thing that you're going to look at is 25, multiply that by 2, which is 50. Does 10, 15, and 25 all go into 50? No, it doesn't. 25 goes in, of course. We just multiply that by 2. But 15 does not. 10 does, but 15 doesn't. So we can't use that. So let's look at 25 times 3, which is going to be 75. Does 10 go into 75? No, so it doesn't work. What about 25 times 4? That is going to be 100. Does that work? 10 and 25 goes into 100, but 15 does not. What about 25 times 5? That is 125. 10 doesn't go in, as you can see. So what about 25 times 6? That's going to be 150. This one looks good because 10 will go in, 15 will go in, 25 of course goes in because we just multiply that by 6. So what we're going to do now is we're going to write this. And so what do we do with this? Why do we find this LTD? What's it going to help us? Because the LCD is the number that all three denominators will go into. If you multiply both sides by the LCD, let's first of all change everything to addition because that's what I like to do. So this is going to be 9 over 10x plus negative 11 over 15. Let's multiply both sides by 150. Remember, 150 is really 150 over 1 if you think of it. Okay, and there are two terms on the left, so you want to make sure that you distribute this 150 to both terms. So let me just write it out. It's going to be 150 over 1 times 9 over 10 times x plus 150 over 1 times negative 11 over 15 equals to, oops, I'm running out of space here, let me move it over. Okay, so when I have this, I know that 10 goes into 150. Oops, so it's really, if you think of it, it's like this really, or if you want to use the associative property of multiplication, it's really like that. So 10 goes into 150 15 times. So notice, look at the denominator. We just have 1. 15 goes into 15, 150 15 times. No, oops, 10 times. And 25 goes into 150. Remember, how many times does it go in? 6 times. So look at all the denominators. We just have 1 now. So what is 15 times 9? Let's do 15 times 9. When you do that, what do you get? So you get 45, and then 1 times 9 is 9. So you get 135. So 135x plus negative 110 equals to negative 72, right? Yeah, there you go. And so since we're adding negative 110, we should then what? Subtract the same exact amount, which is negative 110. So then you get 135x equals to negative 72 minus negative 110 is the same as adding 110, isn't that right? So you get 135x equals to, here when you add them together we have more positive. So what do you get here? 110 minus 72 which is 8 here, becomes 0. You get 38. So you divide both sides by 135. This equals 2. 38 over 135 is your answer. Okay? So let's look at example 2. Okay. So let's try, how about 1.2a minus 3.65 equals to negative 2.57. But the idea is same. We don't want to deal with all this decimal. So what you do is you look at, so this is a little bit easier than fractions, because decimals, all you have to do is look at the smallest decimal place it goes up to, which is to the hundredths place. So all you have to do is, anybody have an idea? Yeah, you're going to multiply both sides by, since it goes up to hundredths place, you see how we have, it goes up to 2 decimal places. We multiply both sides by 100 is correct. Multiply both sides by 100. And again, you will not have to deal with decimals. So when I multiply like this, I get here 1.2 times 100. Remember, when you multiply something by 100, move the decimal to the right twice. So I get 1208. So I get 1208. Oh, let's change into addition, plus negative 365 equals to negative 257. Okay. So what you do is then, since we're adding negative 365, we have to subtract negative 365 from both sides. And you're right. So let's subtract both sides by negative 365. So we get here 120a. They cancel out, right? Because that's y equals to negative 257 minus negative number is really adding 365. So then let's do this on the side. 365 minus 257. We're subtracting these, right? Because this is negative number, that's positive number. Then here we get, okay, we can, 5 is too small, so we make this 5 and they make that 15. 15 minus 7 is 8. 5 minus 5 is 0. And then you get 108, positive, because we have more positive. So you get 108, 120a. Then of course, to get a by itself, we get 120 divided by 120. Since it's multiplying by 120, you undo that by dividing by the same number, 120. A is equal to 108 over 120. Let's make this simpler. Simplify this fraction. Divide top and bottom by, how about 2? So we get 54 over 60. And divide top and bottom by, again, they're both even, so 2 goes in, 2. So we get, what is that? That is 27 over 30. And what goes into 27 and 30? 3 is correct. Remember, if we add 2 and 7, it's 9. So you could divide by 9. You could divide 3 by 9. You could divide 9 by 3, I'm sorry. So remember the rule, when you add the digits, and if it's divisible by 3, the whole thing is divisible by 3. So 30 goes into 27 how many times? 9. 30 goes into 30 how many times? 10 times. So there's your answer.